Welcome to the summer series on financial aid. Today's topic is going to be the federal verification process. Today we'll hope you'll get a better understanding of what verification is, who needs to submit information, what information to submit, commonly requested documents, additional information required, verification changes, and important information. So first and foremost, what is verification? Verification is a process where the Department of Education asks colleges and universities to confirm information the student has provided on their free application for federal student aid, also known as a FAFSA. Some commonly requested items would be household size and number in college and income information. Who needs to submit information? It's important to note that not everyone will be selected for the verification process, but for those that are, the first person that will need to submit information is always the student. The FAFSA is filed from the student's perspective and their information will be required. Next, if the student was married on the day that the FAFSA is filed, the student's spouse will also be required to provide information. For dependent students, the custodial parent will also be required to provide information. If the custodial parent is married, it will also be the custodial parent's spouse that will be required to provide information. One caveat to this is if biological or adoptive parents are unmarried but living together, they too will be required to submit additional verification information. So what information do you submit? There are different verification levels as determined by the Department of Education. The documentation you submit will vary depending on what level is assigned to you by the Department of Education. So let's talk about some of those commonly requested documents. First and foremost, the independent and dependent verification are the most common requested forms. This form will confirm household size, number in college, and also tax filing status. Students and families are strongly urged to use the IRS data retrieval tool on the FAFSA. But for those that are unable to use it and are selected for verification, the next best thing would be a tax return transcript for the requested tax year. A tax return transcript is a document obtained directly from the IRS. It will be a transcript of the 1040s that you submitted for that tax year. If for some reason you're unable to obtain an IRS tax return transcript, you may also submit a signed copy of your federal tax return. This is your 1040s. It must also include Schedules 1, 2, 3, and/or K if you've filed those schedules in that tax year. Another commonly requested form are W-2s to confirm wage information. Next, we may ask for a statement of identity and educational purpose. This worksheet is either notarized or signed in front of a GCC representative. A copy of your government-issued non-expired photo ID will be required to turn in with this form. And finally, the verification of non-filing status. This is another form that's obtained directly from the IRS. This form is for independent students or parents of dependent students that did not file a tax return in that requested tax year. The student or parent will request the verification of non-filing status from the IRS, and when that form is received, you'll turn it into the financial aid office to confirm. Once you turn in your verification information, the financial aid office may unearth some conflicting information. We would have to clarify any conflicting information we find. The most commonly conflicting information is clarification of family size and number in college. That form is requested when the number in the household and/or college on the FAFSA does not match what is listed on the verification worksheet. Please be aware that this will be a form that we request after the fact. So it looks fairly similar to the dependent and independent verification worksheet, but because that information on that worksheet didn't match the FAFSA information, that's why we're requesting this form. There may be verification changes. The financial aid office is required to make changes to any item incorrectly reported on the FAFSA. This may result in a change to federal aid eligibility. If selected for verification, to make the process go as smoothly as possible, we request that you do not make changes to your FAFSA once you are selected for verification. We also ask that you do not change any information that was updated or corrected by the financial aid office. It may be tempting to make changes, especially if verification has resulted in a lower aid package. but we request that if you have questions or concerns that you please contact the financial aid office directly. We may be able to help through an appeals process. Some important information to note is please turn in all requested documentations early as possible to avoid processing delays. As we get closer to the start of the semester, processing does delay quite a bit with an influx of paperwork. So as soon as you know that you're requested for verification, we ask that you turn in your documentation right away. Additional documentation may be required. As we discussed, the clarification of family size would be requested after we discover that there's conflicting information. We often do find conflicting information, so please be aware that that additional documentation is required for us to complete. It's important to note that federal aid will not disperse until verification is complete. This includes student loans. So if you want to have your federal grants and your loans pay out, you must complete the verification process. And finally, the most important information is if you're confused by the process or if you just don't know what we're asking for, contact us. We'd be happy to help. You can contact us through the financial aid office email at financialaid@genesee.edu. You can call the Student Success Center. You can also sign up for virtual Zoom visits, which will be available on our website starting in July. You can visit www.genesee.edu/FinAid, FINAID, to set up a virtual meeting, fill out forms, or get more information. Thank you for attending the Summer Financial Aid Series provided by Genesee Community College.